Welcome to the Deerwood Realty Show. I'm John Schink. It's the day before the 4th of July. I was looking at some stuff on the news, and I saw this article, and I kind of wanted to go over with you. Should you cash in your 401k, or should you just go through foreclosure? I have some thoughts on that. Let's get to the article. This was an opinion piece in Market Watch, so take that for however you'd like. It says, rising numbers of Americans are making emergency hardship withdrawals from their 401k plans to avoid eviction or foreclosure, new data reveal. Now, we'll get to the actual data. It's kind of fascinating. The main reason people were raiding their retirement accounts was to avoid losing their home. In 2023, 39% of hardship withdrawals were used to avoid a home foreclosure or eviction, up from 31% of withdrawals 2 years earlier. So that seems like a lot. It says what is most alarming is that these withdrawals are taking place during an apparent economic boom where the unemployment rate has been below 4% for 2.5 years. The surge in demand for emergency cash to avoid eviction or foreclosure shows consumers aren't just getting squeezed by the jump in overall inflation. The rising costs of housing and high interest rates are also taking their toll. Which it's all inflation. The rising cost of housing is absolutely inflation. So I don't understand. It says savers under 59.5 are able to tap into their 401k plans without paying a 10% early withdrawal penalty, only in certain legally defined circumstances. These include avoiding eviction or foreclosure or paying college tuition or medical expenses. And then when it gets to the numbers, it says withdrawals totaled 72 for every 1,000 savers in 2023, or an average of 6 per month. So what's going on here? So people are taking they're not able to pay their rent, they're not able to pay their mortgage, and so they're taking out their 401k to pay their bills. Okay. So then I looked over here, and this is somebody on Twitter. It says, all this does is delay the inevitable and destroy your retirement in the process. Give the keys back to the bank and let them foreclose. No sense in ruining your retirement to keep a house a little longer. The fact is most people can't afford their mortgage payments, and I tend to agree with that as your friendly local neighborhood agent. So as usual, I have some questions. Wanted to go over them with you. We'll put it right here in the main shot. That's how I have it set up in the system. So the first thing is I just wanted to go over it. Is it ethical? Is it ethical to turn in the keys and just walk away from a structured payment? I don't know if you've seen what's gone on in America in the past 20 years or so, but it's absolutely the way people do things. It doesn't really matter if it's ethical or not, it seems. We are in a low trust society, and so why would you make the change? Now, I'm not saying, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not saying oh yeah, go ahead and stop paying your mortgage. No. I'm just saying in this particular instance, if you're faced between a financial hardship and eviction or foreclosure, let me just make sure you understand what happened in 2008 during the crisis. People would literally have a house that they were living in, and they decided that the house was too expensive. And so rather than just making the payments and waiting for the equity to come back, they literally just went out, either looked for a different house, a deal, okay, and left the house to sit and gave it right back to the bank, or they looked for a place to rent and let the house sit. So it's not like this hasn't been done before. Now you may say, well, there may be programs that will help to eliminate foreclosures. And there may be. But as far as for you, you have to do what you have to do. Let's go over some of these questions then. I got to do this over here. It says, what are the long-term implications of making hardship withdrawals from your 401k to avoid foreclosure? Well, you run out of money for retirement. And how does that benefit anybody? Wages, then it says, how do rising costs and interest rates contribute to financial stress even during economic booms? Well, wages do not seem to be outpacing inflation, so you have to do more with less. I think that's the big issue is yes, there's this great unemployment number. Everyone's got a job. Maybe everyone's got 2 jobs or 3 jobs, but it's not keeping up with inflation. The wages are not keeping up with inflation, so your money's just worth less and less and less. What are the potential risks and benefits of letting the bank foreclose on your home instead of tapping into retirement savings? Well, there's a lower credit score and there's some social shame. But how many people do you know that have moved out of a house and didn't say anything about it being a foreclosure? I know at least 6 people. Now, am I strange? Like, do I just have a bad set of friends? I don't think so. I don't think people want to talk about whether they were foreclosed on. I think that's a terrible thing. How have legislative changes made it easier for people to withdraw their 401k plans in times of hardship? Well, one of the conditions for withdrawing cash for hardships is foreclosure. So, I mean, that's the way it is. And then the last one I think we'll spend the most amount of time on. We're not going to have a very long video today. What strategies can real estate professionals recommend to clients facing these financial dilemmas? Well, let's sit down and talk. Is there equity in the home? Can you get out from underneath the home and still save and keep from having to use your 401k? I mean, the market's pretty darn hot right now, still in July. Now, I know that's not the same in other places. I do know, like, I saw a Reddit post in, like, Texas where the people were, like, at least $40,000 underwater. But they both had jobs and they were leaving the state for another job. So I don't know. But I would take a look first, and then, is that really what you want to do? Do you really want to ruin your credit? Is it really worth it? But I mean, I used to believe in a lot of things. I used to believe that I don't want to get into it. I don't want to make this political, but I used to believe a lot. I used to believe that people in positions of authority, I can't do it without being disrespectful. Anyway, yeah, check with an agent, see if it makes sense. Does a short sale make sense? It seems like the narrative around a short sale is going to be difficult right now because you're literally, you're in one of the hottest markets that there's been in history in housing. So what I would say I worry the most about, if you're still with me in the video, is, look, like, you're living in a house, you've done nothing to it, and all of a sudden, because some other idiot values your house 3 times more than what you paid for it, somehow you feel like you've accomplished something. So how many millions of people have bought a house since 2020, okay, and believe that their house is worth now 3 or 4 times more than what they paid for it? And so what happens if the house prices go down? What if these people have actually pulled out a home equity line of credit just to cover the payments because they weren't doing that well in the first place? It's a really scary prospect. The idea of the equity in the home is a fascinating one as far as, like, does it stay? Is it tangible? I mean, yes. I mean, you can loan off of it, but man, what a dangerous thing. And who refinances into a 7 or 8% mortgage? Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.